we have inherited the quest for American freedom in this country. Years ago, let me take you on a history tour. That's almost a song. Years ago, this church was started. My dad and I prayed for a long time. We felt there was a need. A lot of good churches in the area, but a church that, in addition to preaching the gospel, giving invitations every service, supporting missions, and and loving people in Jesus' name of all colors and backgrounds, thank God. Because that's biblical. But the military needed to be supported. Amen. And I want you to think for a moment. In my case, short testimonial, I was born at Naval Air Station, Jacksonville, Florida. I got salt water in my blood, I think. I was born in a Navy installation. Later on, I served at that same military installation in an Army uniform. Navy installation, Army uniform. And I remember one day going to the commissary, and this really sweet older lady, and I'm saying this respectfully, she stopped me, right? I remember it was really hot, and she said, "Son," I said, "Hey, ma'am, can I stop you?" "Yes, ma'am." She said, "Can I give you a hug?" I said, "Yes, ma'am." She reminded me of our Dr. Hall here, who was 105 when she passed. Reminded me of her a lot. And I said, "Ma'am, I'm honored." She said, "We're Army and my husband just passed and we live here." And she said, "I live here." Apparently they lived on the base. And she said, "You know what?" She said, "We live here and I haven't seen an Army uniform in so long, and I love the Navy, but can I hug you? I love your uniform." I said, "I love you too, man. We love you." We had prayer, and she hugged me right in the middle of that hot sun on the street. And I thought, this is pretty cool. This is pretty amazing. But she cried, and I said, "Love you, man. Just thank you so much. Thank you. You made my day." But in truth, here we are, and I'm a direct part of this legacy. My father was at sea for almost 16 years. And that's flippant, man. I mean, you say that, my dad was at sea for 16 years. Do you realize 16 years is that's a long time? Amen. My father would come home sometimes, I wouldn't even know who he was. I remember when I was a tiny kid, like 3 years old, I didn't know my dad. He came home, I hadn't seen him forever and a day, and I ran from him. He told me, he said, "You ran from me for 2 weeks." And he said, I had to leave the next week. So 1 week we spent together, that we actually interacted, had fun, rode me around, piggyback thing. And I remember my dad, when I was about 4, I was at NAS again, same military base. And my dad had to go on an aircraft. And I remember we were riding a Chevrolet. I'll never forget that. And my dad got out and was dressed in blues. And he said, "I love you, boy." And I said, "Why are you always leaving us?" I said, "Man, you're just leaving us all the time." My dad started crying. He said, "Well, the Navy told me I got to do that." I said, "I don't like the Navy. I don't like that." I said, "You're always coming in. I never see you. I don't have my daddy around." Man, I was really crying. My dad was upset. My mom was crying. Everybody crying. My brother was kind of crying. And my dad gave me a hug. He said, "You know what?" It's off the cuff here. "I got to go make some money, buy you some toys." And then it hit. I said, "Daddy, I don't want any toys. I just want my daddy. You're not here. You're not here." And he started crying. He said, "I got to go." He said, "Give me a hug, boy." I said, "I love you, Daddy." I never forgot that. Later on, as I grew up, we had church activities, and I would go. And I remember one time there was a father-son banquet. I didn't have my daddy. My mother knew about it. She said, "I tell you what." She said, "Larry," my older brother, way older than me, "Larry, you two go together to the father-son banquet." It's not the same. Believe me. Not the same at all. So you grew up that way, and I knew my father would never come see me as I got older playing in a baseball game. He never did. And I was blessed to run track across country in high school, the junior high element, high school, and in college. My father never saw me run in any meet at all, ever. He was never there. Never. But he was defending our country. And so it dawned on me one day, I was talking to my dad.